This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Joseph Parker out here in Saudi Arabia. Joe, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. I am great. Fantastic, happy, in shape, ready to go.
I'm glad to hear it. A lot of positivity there brought to this interview at the beginning there, Joe. I just said to Andy Lee when I interviewed him there, out of the fight into the frying pan with yourself, one big fight into another one.
Yeah.
How much does that just get your juices flowing out, especially at this stage of your career?
Being involved in these big fights, like you said, it gets the juices flowing, but it gets you up for these fights. Like some fights that you take, when they're not really challenging, sometimes you just sort of just go. You go along with the training and you just go to the gym and train but with these fights, like everything has to be on point and everything has to be focused and everything has to be there's a plan for everything, and I've done everything right, training wise, eating wise, resting wise, recovery. So I'm coming into this fight with a lot of good energy, ready to let it all go.
Talks about the challenge of Zhilei Zhang. Obviously, we will remember him from the Joyce fights most recently. It's interesting how boxing works, isn't it? Obviously, Joe defeat you, but then you could potentially beat Zhilei Zhang.
Joe beat me, and Zhang beat Joe twice. The first one was because of the eye, and then the second one was a nice KO victory, or TKO, KO, whatever it was. Yeah, so Zhang's coming into this fight supremely confident in what he can do. And probably seeing my fight with Joyce, he's probably thinking, oh no, I'm not sure. Maybe he's smart enough to see that it's a different fighter from that fight. I feel like I'm a different fighter now, mentally and physically and emotionally, everything. Just the way that I progressed in the last year with Andy Lee and George Lockhart and the work that we've done, I feel like I'm in a great place.
How do you think the fight plays out in your own mind when you think about being in the ring? How does it go?
I do visualization sometimes on the fight and how it looks, and I could see myself doing really well and Zhang missing, and I'm just enjoying myself. And then I could see him catching me with a few shots, and I catch him, and then I just see myself winning the fight. I'm not sure. Sometimes I picture myself catching with a nice punch, and then sometimes I just picture myself winning on points. It depends on which one I can execute.
Zhilei Zhang, speaking to me yesterday, is adamant that he'll be able to stop you. I just interviewed Andy outside, and it's nice little drawing. When you walk out, you'll see it on the left. He drew out how he thinks you're going to stop him, and he pointed out the left hook. Is that a key to the victory for you, Andy Lee? Yeah, so he's literally, you walk out, you'll see the drawing on the side there, and he pointed out the left hook for yourself.
Yeah, we've been working a lot of things in camp. We've been working on a lot of punches and the straight right, left hook, body shots. There's a lot of ways you can in the fight. It just depends on what Zhang gives us.
Just working with Andy Lee as well, something I want to touch on. A few people said to me after the Wilder fight, it's potentially the first time in a high-profile fight we started to see the imprint and the work you two have been doing together come to fruition. Do you feel like that's the right case?
Yeah, it's taken me a while to understand a lot of the things Andy was trying to teach me. But now that I understand it more, and also we have this bond, and we're in sync, and it's a three-man team. It's myself, Andy Lee, and George Lockhart, and together, everything is great. We're all in sync, and we all have the same goals, and we're all thriving off these fights, these big fights. And we're just, it's not only myself, like these guys are taking time away from their families, coming into camp, and we all got the same goal, is to be the best.
I asked Andy Lee this question. I'm going to ask yourself, if you win on Friday night, what next for you? And I asked Ben Davison after AJ beat Volley, and he said he'd like to run back the Usyk fight if he could do it a third time, to be in his corner, try and get him that win. Andy Lee said that he'd love for you to face one of the guys who beat you, i.e. Joe, Dillian or AJ. Are those the names for you? You want to right those wrongs?
Listen, it's a big task, but winning against Zhang, I'm locked in for a rematch. They're protecting what he has, which is the mandatory position and interim bout. And then after I beat him twice, I'd like to fight any of those guys. This the three guys that beat me: Joshua, Dylan Whyte, Joyce.
I think that's news to most people. I didn't know if there was a rematch clause. So was that something that, I know you've signed for it, so you was up for it, but was you adamant, was you against it to begin with?
Listen, you're always going to go back and forth, but when you're given the option, and this is the only option, you take it. No, we want to fight. I back myself. I know what I can do, so I want to go out there and prove it.
Two big fights for yourself and potentially on the horizon, and just get your thoughts on a couple of the topics before I let you go over the main event, Joshua Ngannou. Joe, your thoughts?
Tough. I feel like it's a tough fight. Boxing people would think Joshua would beat him easily, but Ngannou is a tough man, and champion in his own sport, come into boxing, put on a good performance. I'm not quite sure how it ends. Not sure.
No, so you don't actually have a prediction. You got splinters there.
I don't have a prediction. You would think Joshua, but Ngannou has been out here training very hard, putting in the work, and he backs himself and he's confident. He's got Mike Tyson in his corner, Dewey, and everyone else. But Joshua is a champion, and he's got the champion mindset, and he continues to keep going. So, interesting.
And just somebody well, obviously Tyson's having his fight with Alexander Usyk postponed due to that cut. Just your thoughts on that and the disappointment Tyson currently has that it's been delayed.
I'm, like everyone else, happy that it's been postponed and the fight's still going ahead. I just hope that he's taking time to recover and rest his eye and make sure that it's on track because I know he's going to be in camp again very soon, putting in the work and preparing for that big fight.
If there was any risk of that opening up, you fancy stepping in and facing Usyk if Zhilei would step aside if you win?
I'm keen to fight anyone and keen to fight at any time, but I know that fight's going to go ahead 100%, no matter what.
Right, Joe, listen, it's a pleasure to catch up with you. I know you've got to shoot off. You've had a busy day. Thank you for speaking to me. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you very much.